this session is less about how to use specific areas of the technology and more about introducing some of the other modules and features that you might want to think about if you were to find yourself using Springboard or implementing Springboard for a client in order to, achieve certain outcomes. So we're really starting to talk about some of the more CRM capabilities, and then also onboarding at the back end of it as well, and how you might start to use some of those technologies to put a solution together or to broaden the offering that you can make to a client. So that's really what we're going through today. So let's start with microsites and campaigns, and I'll dive straight into the tool to show you. So what you've probably seen so far is, and if I just figure out how to get hide this section away of my demo. There we go. Let me just start by going to what you've probably already seen as an example front-end careers site, or something that you would often see as a front-end career site, and this is the one that we run for Starbucks in Australia. Pretty traditional, front page and a series of jobs and apply for jobs and so on. What we've also added to this page is a talent community page at the bottom, and that's starting to lead into some of our microsite functionality. If I click on Join Talent Community, you'll see that a new page is opened, which allows you to capture just a very basic registration, single join now with a couple of fields at the bottom asking specific questions around experience driving teams and experience managing or leading a team and achieving financial outcomes. Talking about the technology that drives this, and if I click over to another tab, here's another example. This is effectively a microsite that we've built for Starbucks and for a number of different clients. It presents as a simple web page, and that's exactly what it is. What differentiates this from just any page on the web is that it has been built within Springboard using point and click technology, very similar to setting up a Squarespace page or something like that, where you, the recruiter or administrator on site or whomever, can actually start to build some of these pages and chain them together into small microsites. So this is a campaign that we put together for targeting store managers within Starbucks, and finding store managers in a retail solution in Australia was proving quite challenging. So we wanted to put together a page or a microsite that encouraged people to join, talking about the brand, etc. And then two pages hanging off of that, one being a quick apply, which really pointed to that talent community page. So this is a second page within the microsite, and also a current roles page, which presents some content, and then a targeted list of the available job ads on the site, all of the store management roles. So if you imagine this as being a targeted set of opportunities, instead of showing all of the roles for Starbucks, it's focusing on just the store management ones. So you might use this to build microsites for things like, let's say that you were trying to target, I don't know, engineers for the northwest region of the UK. For some offshore drilling or something like that, you might want to create a targeted set of pages that is showing that area of the company and has specific links to jobs that are available within that area. You might want to put microsites up and down over a period of time for different projects. Maybe it's grad campaigns or whatever it may be. So that's the kinds of things that we use it for. So these pages have all been built by recruiters or administrators, and they don't need you to be going back to either an IT group or the Springboard support team in order to build them. If I quickly show you a little bit about what drives this technology, if I jump over to Springboard now, and I'm in the Starbucks solution of Springboard, we can go to a new module called Campaigns, and if I click on Campaign Search here, we'll see a list of campaign pages that have been built. And I've got a one here that I copied as a demo one this morning off of an original one. So I can come in here and edit this page. And up comes just waiting to see if all of this loads. Why isn't this loading? It was loading earlier. It was loading earlier because I built it earlier. That's annoying. Sorry, let me just see if I can. Let me just pause this for a second. Apologies for that. Don't know why that wasn't coming up in one of the browsers I had. It was working there earlier today. Must have been something about because I was sharing. But anyway, I've now opened it. And what I've done is I've clicked in to edit this campaign, and you can now see it kind of in a WYSIWYG mode where it's been set up as a series of panels. If I scroll down here, you can see we've got body panels that have been set up into one panel is showing an image, and it's got 2 buttons associated with it. Then I've got another panel where it's showing another image, and then we love our brand with a series of text. And I've got another panel with another image and store leaders, and then another image, and then a footer. So here is a very basic example of the editor's view of a particular page. And if I wanted to make changes to this, I can do it with point and click. So for example, if you were wanting to create a new page as a copy of another, or change this page, for example, you can click on the image. Yeah, not having much luck on this. Did this morning and it was fine. Oh, there we go. So I can click on the image to bring up a library of images that are available to you, and you can always upload a new one. And I might want to swap out the image for this new banner here. So I'm going to select that banner. Hopefully that's going to switch. I'm having a lot of luck here. Please remove the script tag from the CSS tab. I don't seem to be having a lot of luck with that. Let's try changing some text, see if I have any luck with that. So these are just some of the reasons we love our brand. I can click into here and say, you know, please join us for any opportunities. And without any coding, I can save that. I'm really not having, I don't know why. It is not playing for me. Must be something to do with the user that I've logged in as. That's very annoying. My apologies. Nonetheless, you should be able to make changes. So you can add new sections. So for example, I could add a new row below the existing one to add some more content. I can change colors and labels. So I can change background colors on a particular thing, swap out images. And then I can also, if I jump to another campaign, for example, let's try going to, for example, the register your interest page. See how we go with this one. And if I scroll down on this page, you'll see once again, we've got the banner, join our talent community. And here we've got a panel where I've added the register your interest form to be able to capture candidates' interest. So I'm saying on this that I want the title, an EOI title. I've left it blank because I've put some header information up here. I could change that if I wish. And then I've said that I want to capture location preferences. I'm not going to capture job preferences. I don't want to capture a resume on this particular one. And then I've added 2 new custom properties to this page to be able to capture those questions around driving teams and experience. So you can see that's a panel that I've dropped in. So we've got different panels. You can drop in maps. You can drop in obviously the register your interest. You can drop in a panel that shows a list of jobs. You've got all sorts of different portlets and little panels that you can drop into this to build up a complete page. You can also configure destination links for your home page. etc. And that the end result being that if I jump back to our page here, you've very quickly built up a page where you've got the image, your buttons, and so on, or indeed the talent community capturing the last name, the location preferences, but not any job category, and those two questions. So you can see there, despite a couple of issues with my demo, you've got a fairly easy to use tool where you can modify your own content and post those talent communities. So we're using that at a number of clients to kind of bolster the standard careers site. If I jump back to our careers site here, which is our standard career site, which is typically modified by our support team, you can see that we've dropped in a talent community button here, and then we've also dropped in, if you click through to your store managers, we've dropped in a panel down here on the join our talent community as well. But you could add these links to anywhere within the site to start to capture those, or in fact you could post out. You could create separate micro campaigns for a particular project, as I mentioned, grab that URL and then start punching that out through social media or other avenues to start getting targeted candidates coming back in. And all those candidates can be source tracked so that you know that they've come through that campaign as their entry into the tool, as opposed to finding your opportunity on a job board or through other means. As those candidates come into the system, you can then start to process them through what we call talent pipelines, or indeed talent folders. And I'm not sure how much has been covered on pipelines and folders in previous demonstrations or training sessions. Pipelines are typically what we think of as more dynamic lists or changing lists. They are effectively a search that you've created within Springboard looking for candidates that match particular criteria. So for example, you might want to set up a search for civil engineers that have project management experience that are interested in working in Chicago or London or whatever it may be, based on criteria that they fill out on their profile. And then the talent pipeline will automatically execute a search on that criteria every night and tell you how many people are in your are in that pipeline at any particular time. So right now I know that I've got 7 people that are interested in being or have clinical nursing experience in the Chicago region, for example. You can also have any of those candidates automatically added through to a talent folder, and a talent folder is more like a static list. If I scroll down here and show you, here are my talent folders. If I wanted to click into one, so you can see your talent folders from here, or here I've linked it to a more dynamic talent pipeline. If I want to click into one of my talent folders, that's where, kind of like seeing candidates on a job, but of course these aren't people who are applied. These are people that have been found to have the experience you're looking for, or that you've put into a folder specifically. You can start to manage those people through a particular workflow, such as, they're unqualified or a suspect. You haven't yet spoken to them. You don't know if they're interested in the role. You don't know if they have all the qualifications to be in this particular folder. But once you've spoken to them, or you know that they're interested, or they've got the right salary expectations, you can start to move them down into a verified suspect, etc. Using a combination of your talent folders and also your dynamic pipelines, where you're always finding the freshest candidates that meet the criteria, you can start to find the candidates that have entered through any one of your talent communities that you might have posted online through something like these store manager opportunities or talent pipelines that you can create yourself. So that gives you a bit of an indication as to how you can build some talent pipelines, get candidates coming into your solution, and then be able to find them again, to be able to start to contact them, workflow them, put them onto particular jobs, etc. Does that all make sense? And do you have any questions around building microsites? Obviously, I haven't shown you exactly how to build a page, but the concept and how you might use that on some of your solutions.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
All right. Okay. So that is microsites and campaigns. We're using that on a number of our clients to assist us. The next area I wanted to talk a little bit about was our resume parsing technology and some external search capabilities, which is leveraging some of our Affinix platform. So let me dive back into our sales site here and click into a particular role. So I'm going to do a search, and I've got my clinical nurse job again that I want to click into. What we've got here is or what we've integrated into Springboard is a resume parsing technology. A lot of ATSs have resume parsing built in, and the one that you're using now may well have that as well. Does TalentLink use a resume parser?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so resume parsing is effectively as resumes for candidates are uploaded to the system, a resume parser will typically look at the unstructured text that is in a resume. So for example, the name and address, any skills that they might have, any experience and companies they've worked for and when, qualifications, all of that kind of thing. And let's see if chat, hang on a minute. One question for me, sorry. How well are the microsites hosted? Sorry, Andy. So the microsites are hosted on our Springboard platform. So, so in your case, when you're deploying UK sites, they would be hosted within the UK AWS environment that has been set up for you. So they'd be UK hosted. Hope that answers your question. I'll try and keep an eye on my chat. Right, so yeah, resume parser will basically take the unstructured text of a resume, pull out the interesting stuff, and do something with it. So for example, if I click into a particular candidate here, a very simple example of what a resume parser might do is if Patricia Mauve here has applied and attached this resume, you can see that it has pulled out up here in this business card within Springboard. It has recognised that she lives in Meadowvale, Bundaberg, Queensland, and it's pulled that out from her resume. Equally, actually, I've changed the phone number to my own for texting purposes, but her mobile number would have come up into the mobile field. It's pulled out her email address automatically, and you can see up here it's found the last job that Patricia Mauve had and put it up here as well. So that's a very basic, and also the past job here as well. So pulled out some interesting information and presented it back to you. So that's a very basic use case for a resume parser. The one that we're using and have integrated into Springboard goes a lot further than that. I'd like to just briefly show you that. Our one is actually an intelligent job matching engine. So what we do is every time you post a job, you can attach a position description to that job, which might be a standard, Word document-based position description that you've taken as part of the hiring brief, or you've attached from a position library, or wherever you might store your position descriptions, and you attach that to the job. You then also have candidates who are applying for that job. And if we look here at the current list of candidates that have applied, I've got a series of candidates that have applied to this job. And what Springboard will do is it will automatically parse the resume of the candidate against the position details within the position description, and it will come out with a suitability score. So you can see that here. So Patricia Mauve has got a 59% match of the skills and experience required on the position description to what she has in her resume. So you can use that to do a sort rank and find the most suitable people for that particular job and start to use that for screening purposes. I can click on that little 59 and I start to get some insights that the tool has automatically pulled out of the resume. So we haven't written any of this, it's automatically been pulled out for you. So things that it tells you are things like, typically Patricia will work for 8 months at any given company before moving on. She has a mild preference for part-time or contract work over full-time, so she's a contractor. Now, she's in nursing, so it's probably not a great surprise. And then how have we come up with that weighted score of a 59% match? The technology goes through and matches against different criteria, such as the certifications, the industry experience, the job titles that she's worked at, any management level and any skills, and comes out with a score based on that match. It also gives a bit of an overview. So it appears to be somewhat concentrated in the finance industry, nursing, okay, interesting. lower to mid-level, 2 years, and she's a mid-level management role, okay, with nursing, etc. So some things that you could potentially show to your hiring manager, for example. So a little bit of an insight there. So every candidate that comes into the system is automatically matched against the PD, and it gives you a suitability score. So that's useful in itself. For transactional recruiting, it gives you a way to stack rank and find who might be the most suitable person that applied to your role. But we've taken that a little further, and we've used the same technology to actually automatically dig into the database and recommend candidates to you that may not have even applied for a role. So every time a job is posted, before you even post it out to a job board, Springboard will automatically do a similar kind of match between the position description of the job and all the candidates that are sitting within your database, and provide those that it thinks are a good match. And here are 4 more candidates that haven't yet applied that Springboard thinks might be a good match for the role. The suitability scores are a little low, so maybe you don't have any nursing managers, but you can see here that it's pulled out candidates where their current job title is registered nurse. So we've found people who, you know, might be of interest, and then you can click in and review those candidates, have a look at their resume, give them a call, see if they're interested. And if they are, you can either invite them to apply. So you can send an email to them to invite them to apply, or depending on your process, you might just say you've spoken to them and I want to drag them directly onto the role, and then they're an official candidate who's applied to that role. You can also see a source here. If I hover over one of these, this source is AI Talent Pool Match. This indicates that this candidate has come from the existing pool of candidates that live within Springboard. But this one here is a AI Web Search Match. This is actually using a slightly different technology and is starting to hook into some of the Affinix areas of what we provide at PeopleScout. This has used the Affinix platform to reach out to the open web, search Monster or LinkedIn or a number of the other providers that our web search technology can search, and has brought those candidates automatically into the system as well. So Clio Orange is someone who was not even in your database. We've reached out and found that candidate from potentially LinkedIn and added them as a potential match as well. And you can, again, contact Clio and start to engage with that person. See here, we've found them from ARIA, which is part of the external search technology that we have. You can also perform a manual search. So if I come over here and do a candidate search, this is where I would traditionally come in and search for candidates based on just a basic Boolean keyword search of their resume or job titles or companies. There's also a new tab here called Resume Mining, which again allows you could potentially paste a PD. So if you've got a position description that you're starting to work on, you could paste that PD as unstructured text just straight into the box here, click Find Candidates, and it will find you candidates that match based on a full position description, rather than requiring you to build a Boolean search string, such as, you know, clinical nurse and London and you know, whatever it may be, certification B. You can suddenly just drop an entire position description in, and it will match based on a similar set of criteria that I showed you earlier: certifications, experience, job titles, qualifications, etc., etc. So there's just a few interesting ways that you can leverage Sovren. It is we do pay a per resume cost to our provider Sovren to provide this technology. So there is an additional cost typically that we would look to pass on to our clients to leverage this technology. It is a relatively small cost. I think we get about 40 resumes to the dollar or something. That's Aussie dollar. So in pounds, I don't know what that is. Lots. Yeah, so it's a small additional cost, but something that can give some really good results and provide value to your clients around better making use of candidates already in the database, better providing some suitability scores and ranking for those that are not in the data that have applied, and also reaching out to external sources through Affinix. Any questions around Sovren and resume parsing?
No, thanks.
No, thanks.
All right. So next, rich email campaigns. This is a relatively new area that we've added to the system, and within the standard core Springboard, you've always got the opportunity to send an email to a candidate, either manually or through the rules engine. Pick a template. You can have some rich branded emails here within your, you can have a library of communications that are all marked up with tags, and you can always send emails to a candidate either manually or as I mentioned, through the rules engine, which is the automation technology in Springboard. And I think I've demonstrated that in a previous session. So that is part of the core product. What we've done though is we've added a new integration to a provider called Campaign Monitor. And it's tucked away here under the campaigns area. And what Campaign Monitor allows us to do is provide a much richer set of emails out to our clients, and also start to craft some automated journeys for the emails that are being sent. So what does that mean? It means that when you identify a list of candidates that you want to engage with, you can start to set up some automated journeys where you might send one email to that that list of or that talent community to start with, welcoming them to the talent community, telling them a bit about your organization, and then you can build a workflow where it says, you know, after a month, send them this next email. If they click in a particular link within the email, send them a different email. So you can start to branch different workflows to give a much more personalized experience of emails that you might want to start sending out. So this area is really about providing a richer engagement to potential pools of candidates to keep them warm or to get them interested so that they're ready for a role. So you can create a new campaign. If I click into my Dave demo here, I've set up some basic particulars, and then you can choose a template, and you can see here that the emails that are available, I'm not the most experienced with using this. Let's let this load up. Okay, so here you can see we've got a much richer tool, kind of like what we showed you with Campaign Monitor, where you can make changes to the email that you're going to send. You can drag and drop images, spaces, so much more of a content management system or marketing tool where you can generate emails, you can preview them, see what they'll look like on a mobile, see what they'll look like on different desktops, and then progress through to actually build out and send that email campaign. So that's part of what the Campaign Monitor tool can build you. You can then also start to build some automated journeys, as I mentioned, where you're going to send one email and then another over a period of time. The integration with Springboard allows you to start to build the lists of candidates that you want to engage with. So for example, if we go back to our clinical nurses talent folder, you can engage with candidates either within a talent folder or a job or a dynamic pipeline, which is your regular saved searches. If I wanted to engage with people that are in this talent community, so let's say that these 8 people have registered through one of our talent communities and have dropped into the system, I can right click on that talent community and say that I want to generate a campaign list based on anyone who's in this folder. So I've selected those 7 candidates, and I'm going to create a new list of clinical nurses in my suspect folder, and I'm going to create that list. So what that has done is pushed, it's basically created a list in the Campaign Monitor tool and automatically added these 8 candidates to it, or 7 candidates to it. And then as candidates come into this folder or move out of that folder, Springboard will automatically keep that list updated within the Campaign Monitor tool, which means that at any time you can then jump back over to Campaign Monitor Admin, build a campaign and send it out to that list. So if I click over here on lists and subscribers, you can see here we've got a new list called Folder Clinical Nurses with 7 candidates in it. So that's the one that I've just added. And I can create a campaign and target anyone who is in this particular folder. So if I want to send out an email as a one-off or start an automated journey, I can fire out an email campaign to everyone who's in that particular folder, and I know that I'll capture everyone that's up to date in that folder. So a useful way to start some rich email marketing campaigns and drive more traffic back to your solutions website. Any questions on rich email campaigns?
Oh, none for me.
No, none for me.
All right. So we've kind of talked about some of the capabilities around, candidate relationship management and a more proactive form of talent rather than just post and pray, building some microsites and campaigns to drive traffic towards your site, using some of the searching technologies to find candidates that are either already in your database or external to your database, and bringing all of that together into a series of talent folders or jobs that you can then start to use some of the rich email campaigns tools to fire emails out to. So that's really everything around the CRM. The final area that I wanted to give you a quick overview of was the onboarding part. So we're kind of jumping from the front end of the process where you're trying to search for people all the way to the back end of the process where, if we think more about transactional recruitment, people have applied to the job, you've put them through the assessments and so on, you're at the point where you want to offer them a job and you want to put them through a digital onboarding process. So if we jump back to Springboard and go back to my clinical nursing role, there are various parts of the tool that you can use to facilitate onboarding a candidate. The first is that you can generate an offer letter. So if I right click on a particular person, I can capture their offer details, which is a simple form to capture things like their salary and their start date. And then I can generate a rich letter based on a template. So you can have templates that you can upload into the system. These are typically Microsoft Word-based documents marked up with various tags within the document. So if I go and open one that I've created earlier, here is just open this rich letter. This letter, you can see here, it says, Dear Katrina Purple. That would have been a tag that now has been replaced with the candidate's actual name when you're generating that letter. Offer employment for the position of clinical nurse, working within health services, and your starting salary will be, I haven't entered a salary in the offer details, so it hasn't pulled through at the time, but this would have been a tagged up document that has been replaced with particular details and generated an offer letter. So you can use that technology to build your offer letters, and we've got clients that have a large number of offer letters, contracts, documents, etc., that are all loaded into the system, marked up with the particular tags, and then used to generate offer letters for those candidates. Once you've generated your offer letter, the next step might be to get the candidate to accept their offer, and that's where we bring in the onboarding portal. So as a recruiter, you can choose for any document that you want to publish to a portal, and you can tick on it, and that will basically publish it to a portal. And then using the rules engine, you can have an email automatically sent out to a particular candidate, inviting them to log in and accept that offer. So I might receive an email as a candidate. If I just open up my front end careers portal. So here's just a demo portal that we've got. But let's imagine that I've sent an email out to Patricia saying, hey, congratulations, we'd like to now make you an offer. Please click here to log in to the careers site to accept your offer. So I would come in and click and log in as Patricia. And down here in my onboarding portal, I've now got in our careers site, I've got a section in here called Starting With Us. You can configure this to whatever you like. And this brings you into the onboarding section of the careers site. Within the onboarding section, you've got complete control to manage any of the text that you want. So you can welcome, congratulate them. You can drop videos and text in here. You can do whatever you like. So a basic page to capture some congratulation text or whatever you want, a bit of branding about your organization. And then it drops into the various parts that you can digitize or capture within the onboarding onboarding portal. The first is that you can have a candidate review and accept their offer. So for example, if I click on the PDF, here is an example of that offer letter that I've generated for Patricia. You know, the role, the salary, where you're going to be working, etc. This is obviously a very simple example, but you can have any complex document you wish. And then they can be engaged to accept that offer. So it's kind of like a DocuSign online acceptance. Tick the document, click I accept. You're asked to fill in your name again. So it's kind of like a digital signature. Enter the date that you're doing it, and then click I accept. And that will stamp the fact that the candidate has accepted that offer, and that acceptance then becomes visible back in against Katrina's record or Patricia's record. You know, in her communications tab, you would see a message saying that they've accepted that document, etc., etc. Or over here in the document, you can see here a document has been accepted, when she accepted it, etc. So that's one thing that you can do, is have an offer letter sent out to them and they can accept that document. We don't have an integration with someone like DocuSign at the moment for, you know, everyone knows what DocuSign does, but we are looking into that and we'll probably have it in the next quarter or so. Other things that you can do within the onboarding portal, you can actually automatically have a document pack sent out to them of a set of documents that you want the candidate to read and accept. So for example, I've created a document pack within Springboard. This document pack has a tax office form, a travel and expense policy, a fair work information statement, an orientation booklet, and we are basically asking them to read each document and tick to indicate that they've done that. So for example, I can click into my orientation booklet, I can read all there is to do about it, and then I can tick and I say, yep, I confirm that I have read that document. It locks off, and then I can build a report within Springboard confirming that I have I've read those documents. So now I've got an offer document that I've accepted. I've got my new starter documents that I've read and accepted, and then the final area is you can generate online forms to capture details about the candidate as they lead to getting started. So the most common area that we're using that is to capture things like new employee details. If I click into this, for anyone who's attended some prior sessions, you might remember how we demonstrated the online forms area of Springboard, where you can build any online forms you wish with text boxes and drop downs and calendars and all sorts of things. Here we're using the online form builder to capture a new starter form effectively, where you can enter your personal details, your bank details, your bank account number, any superannuation or tax details, document requirements, whatever you want to capture. This form can be pre-populated from existing information. So family name, given name, if we already know this kind of stuff, it'll get pre-populated, and we're really encouraging the candidate to fill these out. So a pretty common way that we're using, or a lot of clients are using this to capture all of this new starter information, and then we can package that up and send it off, for example, to the HRIS. So quite often Springboard is put in with clients who are using maybe it's SuccessFactors or Workday, and they want to use a recruitment module within Springboard rather than the Workday recruitment module. So we'll use this to be able to do the recruitment in Springboard, capture all the new starter information needed, and then send that off to the HRIS so that they can get them in as an employee and start that information, start the employment. All of this can be built into an automated workflow. So if I jump back to the product, using a combination of some automated rules in the system, which we've shown in a previous solution, and some various other workflow opportunities, you can basically automate the entire onboarding process. So as an example, for our Starbucks solution, we have built a workflow where as soon as a candidate is dropped into the prepare offer stage and their offer document has been created, the rest of the process is 100% automated. So the candidate receives their offer, they accept that offer, which then generates their new starter form, a number of other forms for them to read and accept, which then automatically moves them to placed when they accept that document, and then launches the HRIS integration. I think there might be a few other steps in there. I think it sends emails to someone to organise a uniform for the candidate and another document off to the IT group to start organising a laptop or logins or something like that. So you can automate large steps of the onboarding process using a variety of these tools all chained together. That's a very quick introduction to some of the capabilities of the onboarding portal. And something that, yeah, most of our clients are making use of to kind of extend Springboard beyond just a traditional ATS, but really dig into some of that onboarding and HRIS capability as well. Any questions on the onboarding?
No, not for me, thanks. It's all good.
All right. So we've kind of covered a few of the solutions available within Springboard that kind of broaden it beyond just basic ATS. We've talked about the CRM capabilities at the front, the onboarding at the back. Anything that you've seen that you've got questions on, or ways that you might have used some of this in the past with TalentLink, and you're interested in whether Springboard can do something, or areas that you might feel you might be able to leverage with some of your clients? Any comments? Just got a couple of minutes before we wrap, so happy to take any questions or comments and before we close.
Just to say, like, it's got a fair bit of potential there. It's really interesting the level of automation you can put in, and the portal as well. The portal aspect of it, that's just kind of default instead of Springboard. We can just make use of that straight away, or is that something we have to arrange?
The microsite portal, do you mean?
The onboarding portal I was quite interested in. The microsite as well, though. Both, yeah, gotcha. Both of them, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So for the onboarding portal, it is more tied into a particular solution that you've implemented for a client. So, for example, let's say that we're using Springboard for your internal People Scout recruitment or your TMP recruitment. Then you would add the onboarding module. It's all part of the standard solution. It takes a bit of extra configuration, but not much to add on, and then you can start using it. But you wouldn't use the onboarding portal standalone without using the rest of Springboard. It is fairly well tied in. However, with the microsite solution, there's really no reason why you can't leverage parts of this just as a way to build some basic static website pages and get them out onto the web. If you've got an existing ATS, like let's say that you're using TalentLink or some other technology as your ATS, and it had no capability of encouraging candidates to a talent community, then you could drop this on just to get some extra pages out onto the web, build some microsites, etc., as a bit of a standalone solution. So that's one that you could start using kind of in parallel with a different technology provider that you might already have up and running. Yeah,
that's great.
Thanks very much. Your question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Are there any analytics around the microsite?
Sorry, can you just repeat that question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if we had any analytics that we had access to for the microsite, page visits, clicks, and those types of information.
I only caught part of the question, but I think you're asking about analytics.
Yes.
So yeah, as candidates come into these microsites and either apply for specific roles or join talent communities, we track the fact that they've come in through this talent community. They're stamped so that we know that they've come in. We also know what device they're coming from, whether it's a mobile or whatever. So we do have analytics for people who click through. At the moment, we don't have, as part of Springboard, anything built in to say how many people have just clicked and viewed any of these pages. So, for example, if I want to go back to how many people have clicked in and just viewed this page, we're not actually capturing that as part of the standard Springboard product. It is something that I'm looking to get in the very near future. But for a number of our clients, we just drop a Google Analytics tag, for example, onto these pages, and then we use Google Analytics to track the number of visits to the page.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions before we wrap?
Nope, I think I'm all good.
Nope, that's great. Thank you, Dave.
All right, wonderful. Well, I hope that was helpful. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, I might speak to you sometime in the future. I hope so. So, yep. Until then, catch you later.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye.
Thanks, bye.